What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Friday, December 27th, 2024. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host Phil for episode 321. As Phil was pointing to it, we are, depending on when you're listening to this, 24 to 36 hours away from a new banner being raised in KeyBank Center in Bandit Land. We are here to bring you that preview, but we also got a Bills breakdown. They no longer can get the number 1 seed, but they're very, very close to clinching the number 2 seed, and the Sabres break their winless drought. So, Phil, how was your Christmas? What was your favorite gift you either gave or received? I remember on the last show you said you're a big giver rather than receiver, but we all have a little bit of greed in us, so... If you have a favorite gift you got over something that you gave, what do you got?
We got a new, I don't know the exact word. They're like the mudroom trees, or, the bench for your shoes and your coats and your jackets and stuff. We got that as we're redoing and rehabbing our dining room / front door entryway. It's not how we come in the house, but that's where we want to put our jackets and things. Right now we have a brutal coat hanger that is overflowing with things. So
is it the red one? Is it still like... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I remember that move from Niagara Falls house when you got that house.
Still being used. So that is going away at some point. We did... Ashley built it already, but we have to finalize it and then screw it into the wall to make sure it doesn't tip over. So it's almost there. That was the best thing I think we got, being an adult with homeowner remodel type things going on. We got my dad a new ladder. It's the Gorilla version, but it's the little giant adjustable kind of ladder to go up. He's got all wood ones still. Like all the ladders he has are still old school wood. And he fell off one recently-ish, I think last year, and broke his hip. So we got him a safer ladder that can adjust to everything that he needs to do at the house still. So I think that was a good one. We got my mom a new phone so she can enter this century, so that's exciting for her.
Was she still in flip phone days, or was it just
no,
like
it was just
old smartphone?
We pretty much every few years our Christmas gift to them is a new phone for one of them. So we've been just slowly upgrading every few years their cell phone. So now she's got a Google Pixel. So really really fancy stuff. I think that was it. Some other good giveaways and receiving. Ashley got me a few different T-shirts with the cats on it. Those are always fun. So I got a few shirts with a big Buttons face and a big Beans face. I don't know if I'll wear them in public, but they're great for around the house. So
very fair. Yeah. I'd say I got a new, because up in here I don't really have a wall to mount my TVs or really a place to put it. I haven't built it yet, but in that box right there is a mobile TV stand. So it's on wheels, so I can move it all wherever. So eventually there'll be graphics and stuff behind my head, but it'll also be like my gaming, which I don't really game very much, if at all. Not just now, but I rarely ever did. But I need to be able to wheel that around and push it wherever I need to. So it's like a mobile TV stand on wheels. I really like that one. We've got 4x4 post solar lights, what I mentioned on the other podcast, and then a lot of Home Depot gift cards, which will come in clutch. We got some of those as well. When we're building our fence in the backyard, it's gonna be a little pricey, but it's also gonna be a little bit cheaper with all the Home Depot gift cards. Favorite gift I gave? My dad and I, growing up, really, I don't know if you ever watched this show, American Choppers. I think it was on a
little bit.
A&E, maybe something like that. Discovery. It might have been Discovery. But me and my wife were getting rid of a few couches because we had way too many couches at our old house and don't need them at this house. One of them we couldn't sell, so we donated it. And then when we were at the place donating, we're like, let's look around. Found her like a end table for the bedroom next to her bed. Nice. But we found bobbleheads of the 3 main characters from American Choppers, and my dad collects bobbleheads. So we got them. Nice. Paulie Sr., Paulie Jr., and Mikey that all talk. So there was a lot of them. So if you're ever in Lockport and want to go to the thrift store, free shout out for you. There are probably still tons of bobbleheads. And then me and my brother always give weird signatures, signed autographs to one another. Like I've got Jogan Hesh, I got Gus Bradley, I got all three Ryans, I got Buddy, I got Rex and Rob. All three of them in the same picture after Rob and Rex graduate. I don't know how he does it. I will give you one guess because you're never going to guess it. What was the signed picture? He's always better at this than me. Like I always get him ones that are like really strange, like from American Horror Story. One of them, one of the actors signed it. I got another one in the waiting. He doesn't listen to this, but I got him the Granny who plays the Granny in Space Jam. The actor who said I had that one signed. He's a big Josh Gordon fan, so I got him like an 18 by 12 giant picture of Josh Gordon that signed it. This year I got him Terry Collins, former Mets manager. I'll give you one guess because you'll never guess it. Who did he get me this year?
Who did he get you?
Yeah. You'll never guess. Former Buffalo Bill.
Oof. Nathan Peterman?
Oh, you got it. Yes. But it's not even a picture of him in a Bills uniform. It's him at Pitt because he said he couldn't even find a picture of him in a Bills uniform. So, yeah, I got an autographed picture of Nathan Peterman. And my stairwell's over there. I'm going to have just the whole wall of all these irrelevant players and coaches and people. Just literally the walls, and it's just become a Christmas tradition, and he's far better at it than me at finding these random people.
I hope Peterman gets like royalties for that, and all of a sudden he gets like a $10 check or something. He's like, oh, somebody got my autograph picture.
Little does he know it goes on my wall. But yeah, it keeps expanding. I'm waiting for the Josh Rosen signed picture, which I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. I got Tim Lincecum as well because I called him overrated, and he won 2 Cy Youngs after that. Yeah, I have a lot of bad opinions, especially having a podcast. They continue to come out, so he's a lot harder to find opinion-based ones for. Like the Josh Gordon was the best one, and him and Brian Scalabrine. I think that's how it all started. I found out Brian Scalabrine, a former basketball player for Boston and the New Jersey Nets. I found that picture signed, and I gave it to him for a gift, and I think it just took off from there, and that was like 10 years ago at this point, so way too many signatures. They're not unpacked yet. They're still in a box around here. But, yeah, let us know what your favorite gift was that you either gave or received by following us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com. You can also check out our store on our link tree on our social media sites or at the top of the website by hitting the word shop. It'll take you right to the store. Couldn't be easier. We make it as easy as possible for you out there to represent the BSC on the go. And look for the time breakdowns in the description of the show. We had Christmas football, 2 games, and with it, Santa crushed all of Buffalo's hopes and dreams. The number 1 seed is no longer in grasp with the Chiefs defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Ravens just dismantling the Texans. That means the Ravens jumped ahead of the Steelers in the division. But if Buffalo wins on Sunday at 1 o'clock versus the Jets, they will clinch the number 2 seed. They cannot get the number 1 seed, but with a single win, they will clinch the number 2 seed. Phil, I do have to pat myself on the back. Steelers are 0-3, man. I'm 1 loss away from being perfect. I don't remember the other predictions, but I know I picked the Steelers to go 0-4. They're 0-3 right now. Didn't give us the help. And
I think I did. I think I typed them up in those notes, so you'll have to go back a few shows and see where you had all the records and see what they end up as. I can't believe the Dolphins are still on the bubble.
Dolphins, Colts, and Bengals all need to win, and the Broncos and Chargers need to lose for them to keep their very slim hopes alive. But with everything standing right now, Bills are in the number 2 seed with the Broncos in the number 7 seed. We kind of went over, the Josh Allen MVP drama last Friday's show. Remember, we don't preview shows. There's other content creators that do that for you. What are your thoughts on? I know we've shared it a little bit, but with the Broncos in the number 7 seed, I think we talk more about the Chargers. What is your thoughts on Bills v Broncos round one if that does come to fruition?
I know their defense is good. I know their offense was good and now it's fizzled a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we have talked about it a little bit. I mean, they don't really have a run game, which leans into the Bills' defensive strengths because they can't stop the run very much. I mean, they've been better of late. But I think I would prefer the Broncos because even though their defense is good, they have a rookie QB going into his first ever playoff game, away game in Buffalo, hostile environment. Their offense hasn't looked as good, no run game. Yes, their defense is good, but Josh Allen is incredible and seems to carve up anything he wants. The Chargers with Herbert, he's a little bit more seasoned of a quarterback. If they need to figure things out, I know Dobbins is slowly coming back. Probably by playoffs would be good. He hasn't been amazing. He's not Derrick Henry, but he's been good enough for that team, so he'd be a little bit scarier. So I do think I'd prefer the Broncos for the Bills week one. I don't think it'll be a cakewalk. I don't think it'll be super easy, but I think it's a game that is more winnable than the Chargers. I think the Chargers are still a team they could beat. I'm not really worried about either in theory, but I think the Broncos would be the preferred of the two.
Yeah, I agree because Sean McDermott, I don't have the stats right offhand, but he seems to give rookie quarterbacks a hard time back there, and especially with a quarterback like Bo Nix, who isn't like a typical rookie. He's got a ton of college experience, and he's been playing very well. I think Broncos got a really good one, and Bo Nix, don't hear what I'm not saying, but I do think that in the confines of Bills Mafia, any rookie quarterback in his first playoffs would be a little shaken. That's why I agree. I would also prefer Denver over. I think I've said that for weeks now. I think I prefer Denver over the Chargers just because of the quarterback factor. And we've seen glimpses of what Justin Herbert showed earlier in his career. He hasn't been the same quarterback, but I think under Harbaugh, I can never say their last name, Jim Harbaugh. Harborough. I can't do it. I've tried that. Thank you. I'll let you handle that. I can't say their last name, but I think under him, Justin Herbert has done enough as the quarterback where if they do get Dobbins back, he started so hot, but they kept giving him carry after carry after carry, and I think that wore him down. And with Gus Edwards out and J.K. Dobbins coming back in, the wide receiver corps, I like Ladd McConkey, but he's not a true number one. He's a very good complementary piece number two. Quentin Johnson, the lights turn bright and he forgets how to use his hands. Will Disley's hurt. I mean, I'm not super afraid of them. They do have a good running game when their running backs are both healthy, but it's Justin Herbert that regardless of who the wide receivers are, I'd rather face a rookie quarterback coming into Buffalo than I would a veteran Justin Herbert who can sling it when we've seen it. It's just we haven't seen it a ton as of the last couple of years.
Yeah, he doesn't really have the weapons to sling it to currently, but when he did, he looked really good. And in general, Herbert's very poised. He's very calm. He's quiet in a good way for him. I really don't think the away factor would get to him too much. Like you said, I don't know if their talent is enough to beat the Bills in general, but Herbert is a more polished QB than Bo Nix. I know Bo Nix has more of the running ability than Herbert does, so he does add that element to something you have to pay attention to with the Broncos, but I'd still rather play the Broncos. And then in general, we can go over everything else if you'd like, but for the NFL, and it'll never change, so it's not that, but what are your thoughts on the fact that whatever the Vikings finish as 14, 15 win team could be like the 5 seed versus some of these other division leaders that are sneaking in with 500 records or worse?
Yeah, I've always been fine with it, even if a division winner comes in at, what was it, Seattle a couple years ago, where they were actually more than a couple years ago coming in under 500. I think it was, who was it, Atlanta or Carolina a few years ago in the South. They came in under 500.
Tampa Bay just did it, I believe, too.
Yeah. And then they usually win games, too. Like,
right.
if you win your division, I don't really care if you end up hosting a home game. That's one of the benefits of winning your division. The shocking part is, like, the 3 of the top 4 teams in the NFC right now are coming out of the same division.
Yes.
Like, Green Bay, Detroit, and Minnesota are juggernauts, and they all have some of the best records in the NFL, let alone the NFC. And two of them are going to be on the road to start the playoffs. It's you're not going to be happy if you're the third, fourth seed in the NFC. It's going to be a juggernaut. I don't really mind it whatsoever. You can only control what you can control. The rules are there. I would lean against a hockey style because I hate how hockey does it, where it's the top three in each division, are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it's the 2 wild card team. I hate that kind of stuff. I like it how it is. I think I liked it better, and this might be weird because more playoff teams seems better, but I actually liked it better when it was 6 playoff teams per side and the top 2 seeds get a bye week. That was my preferred method, instead of expanding it. But I do like the aspect of just one bye. It seems more competitive, and besides the Chiefs this year, it's down to the wire of, hey, the number 1 seed's still up for grabs. Getting that bye week is so critical. But overall, I don't really mind Minnesota, Green Bay, or Detroit, 2 of those 3 having to start the playoffs on the road, because eventually you're going to have to be on the road regardless, because unless you're playing like Tampa Bay did at home for the Super Bowl, you're going to be on the road at some point, so might as well start it early.
Yeah, the only way to do it differently, which only works in a small league, would be the unified standings, which have been a lot of fun for the NLL. And not even saying unified as far as AFC, NFC, I think would stay the same, but it'd just be no divisions within the AFC, NFC, and just your record is your record, and that's where you end up. I think that'd be the only way to change it, but like you said, this is how it's always been. And I do like the divisions. I think having the divisions is nice because their league's big enough, obviously, to do divisions, and having those rivalries is huge for the sport. So I do like what they're doing. It's just kind of fun to have teams sneak in and win their division with a real sad record. And like you said, 3 teams all from one division, just pretty much at the entire top of the NFL.
So really the only thing to keep an eye on for the Buffalo Bills coming up here is, like I said, when you get the number 2 seed, but the health of all Cam Lewis, Taylor Rapp, and DeMar Hamlin.
Josh Allen.
Your secondary is beat up to oblivion right now, so let's hope they get healthy. It's the Jets, so you don't really need to push it. You can afford one more loss and still get the number 2 seed, but just get it done this week, and then you can rest more next week. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't push either of them, especially Taylor Rapp. He's such a difference maker back there, and he started off the season where I was not super high on him or DeMar Hamlin, and they've both been very steady presences back there, and man, you definitely missed them on the defensive end. But we will break down the game for the Jets versus Bills, thank God, 1 o'clock on Sunday on our Monday show. We'll move forward to the Sabres. This was the only rightful way that they could possibly end this drought, was one Spencer Brown wearing the Goathead jersey to the game, which he almost cost the Bills a victory last week. But he shed the demons, and the Buffalo Sabres won 7-1. Malestein scored. Kulik had 2, actually looked like a legit rookie player out there with potential. Zucker scored. Benson scored, Quinn scored, and Tage Thompson scored. UPL 27-28 saves. Shots were 28-25 in favor of the Islanders. Yes, Sabres scored 7, only shot 25 shots on net. Buffalo 1 for 3 on the power play. Phil, would you like an update on the bingo board?
I would. The only other thing to say about the game is at least they don't have the record for longest losing streak in a row. Congrats on not having that, and that is about it. Other than that, let's get to bingo.
Bingo time for you. You checked off 2 with the Buffalo Sabres doing what they did. They had an empty net goal, so you checked that one off. And the team scored 7 in a game, so you checked that one off. That one was one of the more difficult ones that you were going to be able to check off. And that one's right next to the free square. So whoop-de-doo for you. Me, I got to check off 3.
Okay.
One of them was bottom right, team ends losing streak. So that one was an easy one to check off. The second one was right next to it. Team scores 6 in a game. So you had the 7.
I knew you had 6.
And then I also had the top right, which was Quinn score. So I got 3 big ones in that game. You got 1 massive one and then an empty netter, because who knows when they would have had another opportunity to score an empty netter. But yeah, everybody's looking good. I've got right now, 2 in a row in 2 different spots. I got plenty of opportunities here with the crisscross. I got 2 in a row in the crisscross, 2 in a row in the crisscross. You got 2 in a row in a crisscross. You got free, and then team scores 7. So you need Levi under 3.3, so he needs to be called up. So you need somebody to be fired, and team gets to a top 20 in points. So everything's looking okay right now. We still got a long season to go. It's not even New Year's yet, Phil. It's not even New Year's, but the drought is over, man. They're on a winning streak. Whew.
I don't think winning 1 counts as a streak. You got to win 2.
It is for the Sabres, man.
Oh, that's fair.
They stink. We need them to go at least 3 because
they're equivalent of winning 10 in a row.
Yeah,
Like that's
I got
win
2 in a row on my bingo board, and you got win 3 in a row. So they need to go on a little bit of a streak here. They got Chicago.
You got 1 of 2.
They got Chicago tonight, man.
They could. They could.
It's
your 2's looking possible. I don't like that. I got 3 wins in a row and 7 goals in a game. You got 6 and 2. That's ridiculous.
Sorry, you picked the board.
I'm sorry, I did pick the board. That is true.
Without even knowing. But yeah, that'll wrap up our Sabres coverage. Congrats, team, not being as bad as everybody talks you are. Just kidding, you still are. It's 1 win. 7-1. Well done. Round of applause. Yuri Kulik. Good game.
Give it to you.
Let's see if you can go on a 13-game winning streak.
Then we'll consider talking about you again.
It's doubtful. Maybe if you reach like 8, we'll start putting the bingo board to the secondary segment and then talk about you in the first one instead of reverse. But Phil, that ends the Sabre segment because nobody really likes the Sabres, and even 7-1 victory can't get us back bought in. Usually, past years it might have. We've learned. Phil, let's go over our first sponsor of the show, Tap That Tap Room, and they have a very exciting One Buffalo weekend coming up.
They do. Tap That Tap Room is at 363 Delaware Street in Tonawanda, New York. They are Buffalo's first women-owned self-pour bar featuring 30 consistently rotating taps, offering a variety of beers, ciders, sours, seltzers, and malt beverages. PK, One Buffalo weekend, what is it all about?
Woo, woo, and it starts tonight. Actually, it starts this afternoon. 3 to 7 is happy hour every Friday at Tap That Tap Room. So if you ever wanted to try the rotating 30 taps from 3 to 7 on Fridays is exactly when you want to go because it's a discounted beer wall. The entire beer wall is discounted. Then stay if you really want to. Maybe take advantage of the 3 to 7 extensively. And then you can watch the 7 p.m. Sabres game. That'll be on the TVs there. So, well planned, Tap That Tap Room. Just they put that game on right after that happy hour because they know what they need to do over there at Tap That Tap Room. Saturday, it's time you've all been waiting for. If you could not get tickets to this game, that is going to be a sellout. Last I saw, there was like 5 seats left, and that was before this recording. It might already be a sellout.
Pumped.
Bandits watch party, 6:30. Sound's going to be on all TVs, ticket giveaways. We've seen multiple people comment on Facebook, hey, if we can't go to the games and we want to go to an actual watch party, where do we go to get the best experience? Hands down, no question, Tap That Tap Room is the place to be because it's sound on, like I've said multiple times. Yes, the sound's on, but it's not overpowering, so you can still talk to the person and still get that experience. And get the experience of watching it with all other Bandits fans. There's nothing else like it. There's no other better viewing experience if you can't be there in person than to be at Tap That Tap Room. Ticket giveaways. There's plenty of excitement. Be there Saturday if you cannot be there in person. We're not just overblowing this because they're a sponsor. There's no better place to watch Bandits games if you can't be there in person. Then Sunday, Bills watch party. Can talk about this one as well. Another best place to watch this because the sound's on. Beer specials, jersey giveaway at halftime. If you show up with the player of the game's jersey on your back, you get a free gift on entry. Phil, it's One Buffalo weekend at Tap That Tap Room. They got plenty of other things popping up. Facebook page to check out all those and to find out what's on tap and what's on deck. Check out tapthattaproom.com.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with the Bandits watch party is that we've always kind of equated it to, I don't know if that's a word,
It sounded right.
Is like going to your buddy's your buddy's house to watch it with a bunch of your friends and watching the game, and everyone's there for the Bandits game. They got the sound on, but you're still having conversations, you're drinking, having a good time. It's very much like that. Like, it's a casual atmosphere, a lot of TVs, a lot of the game on, sound on, everyone's watching, everyone's cheering, but you can still have the conversations while the play's going on. It's not like, oh, be quiet, don't talk, the game's on. Like, it's still casual, you're still having a good time either way. But then, if they score, everyone in the place is cheering. Like, every single person that's there is there for the Bandits, and you're all watching, and they score, they get scored on, there's a lot of booing. It's a good time. It's just a very casual, relaxed, but really great atmosphere to watch a Bandits game.
Again, because it's a self-pour bar, you don't have to go up to
Right.
the bar
You just keep
and
going
wait for
up.
the bartender. You don't have
break,
to be that
go up.
awkward guy like trying to shimmy into the bar like, hey,
Right.
It's my turn. Okay, over here. I got a 20 for you. You just take your own glass and go up and get whatever you want. There's no waiting. So if there's a TV timeout, guess what? You're up there, you're back, and you still get to watch some of the commercials. It's the best place to possibly go to watch any type of games, but especially the Buffalo Bandits, which we will break down right now. Bandits versus Knighthawks 2.0. Bandits are coming in 2-0. Knighthawks 1-3. They've been on a down spiral since the start of the season. 6:30 game time. Banner goes up to the rafters. Starts at 6:10. Phil, so far this season, like we mentioned, Rochester. Actually, let me put this. You got the banner behind you. How excited are you personally? Because we saw how amazing the banners were last year. They're probably going to be something similar this year, which I don't mind whatsoever. I was blown away by the amount of detail and the amount of dedication that the organization had to those banners that they gave away. Everybody's going to get a banner that's coming to the game on Saturday. What is your thoughts on adding a mini banner next to the banner that's above the right side of your head? Or maybe the left, depending on the camera might be reversed for me.
Center-ish. I like it. I like it a lot. The biggest thing we were surprised with last year, which I assume will be similar this year, like you said, was the size. Like, I think everyone was expecting like a truly mini banner. Yeah, like a little 4-inch
keychain.
Like the little American flags that are super small.
Yep.
About that size without the stick. So it was cool to see how big the banner actually was. It's a good size for a mini banner. And I am excited to put another one up. Maybe we'll do a banner raising of our own next episode. Just have a little string and hoist it up into the jersey rafters behind me. We'll see if we can get a little ceremony going for our own banner raising. But no, it's going to be good. I'm glad they're doing it again. I do think it'll be interesting to see later in the season if they do something similar to the ring. I don't know if I would want a ring again personally. Because we already have one, and it was awesome, and I really am very, very, very glad they did the ring. But I think getting like a mini new cup would be cool, like a little replica cup that's small would be interesting, but that's a ways down the road. I feel like they did it at the end of the year last year, pretty much. So
in April, maybe.
Yeah. So we got a long ways to speculate on that, but as far as the banner, I am excited to get another one, and it's just another situation, and it's a good time to call back on it. I know most of the summer I made fun of it a little bit, but it's very true. Don't forget you're in the good times while you are in it. Who knows? I know the Bandits are coming out hot. They look amazing. You don't know the next time they're going to get a banner raising. We hope it's this year. They have the team to do it, absolutely, but who knows? The entire league is extremely competitive, so this could be the last one for a while. I mean, again, hope it's not. I don't think it will be, but it could be. So take it all in, enjoy banner night, just really realize how lucky it is that they have this opportunity, that they won back-to-back championships, and just really take it in, enjoy it, and have fun with what you're witnessing, because it was a long time before these last two. It was, 15 plus years?
Yep. 15,
So not saying it'll happen again, but it could. I mean, in 08, you won your championship, thought that this was a team that could repeat, keep winning, and it took 15 years to win another one. So just really take it all in and enjoy the evening.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because we try to do that as much as possible. I think it was me that brought it up last year when we were witnessing what Dane and Josh were doing, and it's the old Ed Holmes quote from The Office is, I wish somebody told me I was in the good times before I left it. And that's what it is. Like what the past 2 championships, that final game, you and I both did not want to leave our seats. We were the last ones. We were being told, okay, you have to leave the arena, because it's those times where you just don't know when the next time. Yes, I'll say you've been very lucky as a fan base to win back-to-back championships
and go to 4.
Just assume he's been to the 4. Yeah, just assuming that they're going to get this third. They're the obvious favorites. Like I've said it in my article, they're the clear top favorites right now. It's theirs to lose right now. But because of Panther City leaving, like you mentioned, the whole league got better, except for like a handful of teams. The whole league got better. Every game is more competitive. Now, Buffalo might not have shown that in those last 2 games between Ottawa and Rochester. Even Rochester, which we'll go over in a second. That one was tied. Buffalo was up by 1 after three quarters. Like it was that close, and then Buffalo had to go on an 8-1 run. So I'm not saying that just because of their hot start, they're instantly going to win that third championship. So yes, what you said is perfect. Take advantage of the situation and remember that, hey, we're hoping that there's not another big drought, but it could happen. Like stranger things have happened in sports. So take advantage of that. And I think that's a big reason why this is more than likely going to be a sellout. I'm not calling it a sellout because they haven't said it's a sellout yet, but I would not be shocked if you're listening to this now and you're already seeing a graphic online that says this is a sellout, because there's barely any seats left, if that. But yeah, let's dive into this one. So far this season, Rochester, 14-12 victory over Vegas in week 1. Then they lost 15-7 in Buffalo, or versus Buffalo. They lost 10-7 in Vancouver and 14-12 versus Saskatchewan. They are 1-2 at home, 0-1 on the road. This is not the start to the season that they wanted, but this is also one of the few teams that has played every single week of the NLL season. Some teams take advantage of that, like a Colorado who's 3-1 right now. Some teams can't take advantage of that, whose Vegas is 0-4. You're looking at the Knighthawks, who are coming in 1-3. First matchup, Buffalo won 15-7, like I mentioned. 1-0 after the first. It was 4-1 Buffalo at halftime. 7-6 Buffalo at the end of the third, like I mentioned. And then an 8-1 run at the end of the fourth to take that one. You had shots 61-60 in favor of Buffalo. Face-offs, Buffalo took advantage of that one, 16-10 with Taylor Jensen taking the face-offs for Rochester now with Joe Post on the holdout. Both teams 0-for on the power play. Buffalo 0-for-5 on the power play. Rochester 0-for-4. And then, Smith had a really nice game with 11 points. But the biggest thing is they were able to control that offense. The offense struggled versus Buffalo. Lanchbury went 2-4, but 11 shots. You had Knight, no goals on 7 shots. Fields, just 2 goals, no assists on 16 shots. McConvey only put up 2 shots. That was one very strange one. I think he's going to come out firing the ball a little bit more. And then Smith, no goals on 9 shots. Hutchcraft kept them in it as much as he could, but this was about limiting what that offense that can be very dangerous. They were just shut down pretty much the entire game, especially in the fourth quarter. Mad Vince had them figured out, and the defense did even better.
Yeah, I think the big thing with this game and just Rochester as a whole is what are the Rochester Knighthawks this season? I mean, yeah, they came out quick and they looked good, but now we kind of have, and it's still too early, but you have a little bit better of a picture of what the Desert Dogs are, which is not great for them. They are a team that is at the bottom and they're struggling. They are negative 23 in goal differential so far this season. So yes, Rochester came out quick. It looked great. Like, oh, this is the team we expected. Like you and I both had them going pretty far in playoffs as in our early season predictions. And now you've faced Buffalo, who's a good team. Vancouver, who is a team that's stepping up and on the rise and a good team. Saskatchewan has been a good team. And now 14-12 looks close, but they had to have a really big fourth quarter comeback in that one in order to really catch up. And they didn't do enough. But that's the thing. Like Saskatchewan's a good team. They hung in there, had a comeback, kept it close. So what is Rochester? What are they this year? What's their identity? And the big thing is that Fields is missing. I mean, so far in this season, he has not been the guy who was top 4. I think he was 4th last year in the league in scoring. That guy is not there right now. He's missing. I mean, he's just not what he should be. He's not shooting very well. The points aren't really coming. The goals especially aren't coming. And he realistically is the leader on this team. Like, yes, I love Smith and he's really, really good, but the team funnels through Fields. And if he's having a off time to start the season, the team is going to go as far as he goes. And right now, he's not going where he needs to go. And then Hutchcraft has been doing well. He's been doing what you can expect from theoretically a backup goalie. He's not really supposed to be their starter, and I think he's come in and done everything he can to give that team a chance to win, but their offense is absolutely letting him down, and I don't think you can pin any of these losses really on him. I think the team as a whole is just not up to the standard that they need to be, and they're going to need to be in order to beat the Bandits, especially on a night like this.
So let's dive into some numbers here. Buffalo comes in first in the league. Yes, small sample size, only 2 games, but we're into week 5. It's a bigger sample size now, 16.5. Knighthawks tied for 10th in the league, 10 goals a game. That's what we're talking about. Their offense has just disappeared. Buffalo first in the league, so they're first in scoring, first in goals allowed at 7. The Hawks are way up at 11th, worst in the league, 12th. 12.75. Looking at the power play numbers here, Buffalo's coming in 33%, which is 11th in the league. They're 3 for 9. Rochester 39th or 39%, 8th in the league, 7 for 18. And then the power play, top 2 teams in the league on the power play. Buffalo's first, 7 for 9. Penalty kill, thank you. And then Rochester, 63%. They're second in the league, but they've taken 24 penalties. They're 15 for 24 on killing them off, but you're taking 24 penalties. That's another issue that they're having. And yes, they're killing them off, but that is wearing your top defenders down who are playing on the penalty kills. So the best advantage Buffalo can do in this one, just based on these numbers, is get to Hutchcraft early and make sure that Rochester is playing undisciplined, because if they're the ones chasing around and you got that speed and passing the ball around, they're going to take penalties, as we've seen so far through this season.
Yeah, this is the tough part about comparing teams early, is that the Bandits have only played 2 games. So
4, yeah.
It is it's tough right now with the millions of bye weeks and another one coming up immediately.
Yeah, it's not getting any better.
The Bandits. So other teams keep pulling away in the amount of games they've played and information you have on them, and the Bandits keep falling behind, and then they have just a absolutely brutal end to their season. But I mean, it's like you have points for 19 for Connor Fields, tied for 11th. That sounds good in theory, but that's because they've played 4 games, and right. I'm pretty sure other players like a Dane Smith has about the same amount of points in 2 games. Yeah. So, yeah, that is the issue. It's tough to look at bold black and white numbers and compare them directly, but the big thing there, like you said, their penalty kill, honestly, I mean, they're taking a lot, but they are killing a lot off. I know Buffalo's power play has stepped up in the last couple of games, but it's still not, I think, where they want it to be, where they need it to be. And like you said earlier, they went 0-4-5 in the first game in this rivalry. So I think if they do get those opportunities, you do have to capitalize. You can't go 0-4 again. I mean, clearly their even strength offense is looking ridiculous given how well they've played recently, but I think that special teams could be a big part of this game. That, like you said, Rochester's taking a lot of penalties, and if they continue to do that, make sure you step up and take those opportunities and bury those chances. But I mean, some of it could come down to the special teams. At the same time, like you said, 10th for them in scoring. The goals for is just wild for Rochester. They have the offensive talent to be really, really good, and they are just not putting it together. And if the Bandits defense and Vince can keep playing elite lacrosse like they have been, that could also be a really, really big factor. Is just, can the Hawks even put up more than 7 against the Bandits? And I would expect, even on an off game right now, for the Bandits offense to put up more than 7 goals. So it could be all pretty much relied on the Rochester offense, and can they get it fixed pretty much overnight in a game like this?
Yeah, so we'll go over the players. We kind of went over this a couple weeks ago, so we don't have to go super in depth, but we have more numbers on them than we did the first matchup because there was only 1 game that Rochester had played. You got Turner Evans for the lefties, number 5, Connor Fields, number 10, Graydon Hogue, who has only played in 1 game. He is a rookie, former first-round pick, number 16, unlikely to play unless there's some type of injury. And then Thomas McConaughey, number 12, for the righties. You got Austin Hazen, who is on the practice squad, has yet to appear in a game so far. Ryan Lanchbury, he is the leader on this team in points right now, number 7. Ryan Smith's number 43, tied for 4th in the league with 11 goals. And then Kyle Waters is number 42, and Curtis Knight, who's played in 3 of the 4 games. He was on the holdout list very shortly for game 3 for them, I believe it was. Number 9, the biggest number that really stands out for me right now is Connor Fields. You mentioned it. He's not scoring goals. He's got 6 on the season so far. He's still putting up some assists, tied for 9th in the league with 13. He's tied for 11th with 19 points. But he's got 6 goals on 56 shots. He's shooting 10.7%. That is not Connor Fields-esque. Yes, he has been known to put up shots. He's a shooter. He shoots from everywhere. Everybody knows Connor Fields' game. So to me, the question to you is, since we don't have to go super in-depth with these players, I already mentioned, like, I think Thomas McConvey is going to be putting up more than 2 shots. I think Curtis Knight, I think the righties are going to be very important to this game if Connor Fields can't get going. To me, my question to you is, did the league figure out Connor Fields, or is Connor Fields just struggling this year to, I don't know, get his game going? Because he's still getting the looks, he's still getting the shots, but I mean, the ball's not going in. Like, is this a case of maybe like a Dane Smith from last year at the start of the season where, you know, he wasn't shooting so much, but the shots that he was taking, he just was getting unlucky? Or has the league truly figured out a guy like Connor Fields where it's just, okay, let him get the shots, but they're going to be shots that we want him to take. We're not going to give him the looks that he needs.
I think that last part is exactly what's happening with him. I think they're not allowing him to get inside, and he does have a good outside shot, but he's just not getting in the positions he wants to get in to be that elite goal scorer. And even the ones that he scored against Buffalo, like the squeaker that Vince pretty much realistically should have had, but it was that 1 second left on the shot clock,
Yep.
You know, was whip it at the net and got really lucky. There was another goal that was kind of far out that Vince might have been able to have. Like, even the goals he does have so far this season, they're not great. And just the opportunities that I've seen him have, teams are really forcing him to shoot from off angles, from outside. They aren't letting him crease dive, which is one of the things he's best at, or get right in front, which is one of the things he's best at. They're forcing him to shoot outside. And again, yes, he has a good outside shot, but it's not necessarily what he wants to do. And you can tell by the shooting percentage that the looks that they're giving him to shoot, I feel like a lot of it is just kind of toward the end of a shot clock, toward the end of a possession. He's just whipping it on net, hoping to get something that works, but he's not really getting the open, widened up and shot, and then the inside looks that he's used to getting. I think the teams are zeroing in on him, and I don't think, as of right now, I don't think he has an answer or a counterpunch to go against that. And obviously some of the team has to help him, even Ryan Smith. I know his goals are there, but his assists really aren't. So maybe they just need to, as a team, you know, take some of the pressure off of Fields. McConvey also, same thing, looking okay, but not amazing. I mean, he got huge for the record when they saw him against Buffalo. My goodness, the guy is like twice the size he was when he came in last time. So that's fun for him. But I do think Fields just needs the team around him to give him the opportunities that he needs. And I don't think they are. And I don't think right now he's had the ability to go one-on-one with people and make that opportunity for himself. And I think that's what you're missing. It's similar to Vince last year. At the beginning of the season, he wasn't making those big saves. I think right now, Connor Fields at the beginning of the season isn't making those extremely great goals. The one-on-one, no matter what you do, I'm going to beat you kind of goal, he's not doing it. And I think right now it's hurting him and the team.
Yeah, for reference, he's shooting, what did I say, 10.7% right now. Last year, for the season total, he was shooting 20.9. So, I mean, that's the case. I think part of it is either he needs to adjust his game to what the league adjusted to him and needs to possibly be more of a distributor like the Dane Smith was, where, hey, you know, they're going to be looking towards me to be that goal scorer. He has the record in the league for goal scoring. What was it, 72 in 2016? The league knows he can put it in. So he adjusted his game to be a playmaker, to be a distributor, and get other players involved. And if Connor Fields can adjust his game, take less shots, and get other players involved, I think with either the shooting luck he's not having or the way the league's adjusted to him, that will help fix the Rochester's offense. But I think you're going to need a guy like Thomas McConvey to step up. He's got 27 shots on net right now. I think that needs to be closer to what Connor Fields is putting in, because you need a different threat on the left-hand side to make it so that the defenders can't just guard Connor Fields because they know, okay, it's going to be Connor Fields that's shooting him. We need to play him in a certain spot. And I think that's what Buffalo has to do is make Connor Fields play to Buffalo's defensive style because they know him. He's been on this team before. They've faced him multiple times with Rochester now. They've always been a very good defensive unit against the Connor Fields. If you're able to shut down Connor Fields, this offense is going to have a tough time trying to score. And who this Buffalo offense is going to try to score against. Nice transition as we go into transition and defense for Rochester. Chad Tutton, number 44. You got Matt Gilray, who is not having the season that I thought he would. I'm looking for a big L on this one. He needs to bounce back in a hurry if he's going to win Transition Player of the Year. Number 81, Taylor Jensen is their face-off man. Number 32, he's winning 36% of the draws right now. Josh Medeiros, number 26, really wanted him, but alas, I've been defeated once again. Rylan Reese has not been playing as well as I thought he was going to be this season. You got Ethan O'Connor putting up block shots like crazy once again. Brad Gillies, you got Ian Lord up to 9 block shots in the league. This team does block the shots, but their transition game has been a lot worse than I thought they would be this year. You know, you got Rylan Reese, Josh Medeiros with 1 each, and then beyond that, it's pretty much goose eggs all up and down the lineup.
And even the goals against average, like I said, like I really don't believe it's Hutchcraft. I know
no, I do not either.
He's not as good as Hartley. I get that, and he's going to struggle a little bit, but his save percentage is fine. Like 79% on the season is solid. Like that's what you want from your starting goalie. So for them to still be one of the worst in the league for goals against, it really comes down to the defense. They are just not doing as well as they should. And again, on paper, when we went over this team before the season started, and like I said, I kind of put players' names in bold that I thought were like impact players on each team. And this team was just lit up, top to bottom. The defense had a ton. The offense had a ton. This team looked really, really good. And just none of this team is really stepping up to what they were supposed to be before the season started. And again, they had a little bit of a tough run here with 3 straight games of playoff type opponents, but that's what they're supposed to be. They are supposed to be a really good looking playoff type team, and they are not into that mode yet. And we talked about the Bandits being in mid-season form. The Rochester Knighthawks are in preseason form as of right now and how they're playing. They don't look like the season has started for them. Like just none of them, other than Hutchcraft, who we'll get to in a second, have really stepped up in the way that you expected. Like you said, Gilray coming out struggling, Reese coming out a little bit struggling, Gillies not doing exactly what you thought he would do in the transition. Lord, yes, the block shots are there for some of these players, but none of them are really doing what you expected them to do. Same with Tutton, he's doing okay, but it's just not the impact you expected this kind of defense. Even Medeiros, like you said, another player that would have looked great in a Bandits sweater, but just didn't happen. But just none of them are really stepping up into roles that we thought that they would have. And right now, the whole team is just not playing good lacrosse.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting this team to be very good in the transition game. Matt Gilray, I predicted to be the transition player of the year, like I mentioned like 2 minutes ago here. It's just he's got 3 assists, 23 loose balls, 5 caused turnovers, and 3 block shots. That is not transition player of the year type numbers, and that's through 4 games. Like
right.
That's what's insane is all these numbers are through 4 games. And yes, you faced a Vancouver team that yes they only put up 10 goals, but Vancouver's not known to put up a ton of goals. Like you face Saskatchewan, you face Buffalo, and you face Las Vegas. Yes, Las Vegas was game 1, but that was a home game. Like you won 14-12. This is not the Rochester that we were expecting to see, and this is not a transition team that I was expecting to see. I was expecting to see Matt Gilray, closer to 3 or 4 goals. I was expecting Taylor Jensen to have 2 or 3 goals at this point. Darius 2 or 3 goals. I was expecting this to be a very transition-driven team that if they weren't getting the ball in transition, they were able to get the ball turned over from the opponent's offense and get it to their high-powering offense. This is a team that, we can get into Riley Hutchcraft too. I agree with everything you're saying.
Quick, before Hutchcraft, just as a direct comparison for a Bandits player, so there's no shot at him. We all know he's great, and this again, not a shot at Nick Weiss, but preseason, you wouldn't have Nick Weiss as potential transition player of the year, right? But he's coming out really well. Through 2 games, he has 17 loose balls, 1 goal, 4 assists for 5 points, and 4 caused turnovers. You compare that to Matt Gilray's 4 games, And Nick Weiss in 2 games is having a better season already than Gilrea's having in 4. And like you said, Gilrea was on the list of potential transition player of the year. And again, this isn't a shot at Nick Weiss, but he wasn't, right? Like no one really sees him. He's a great player, but no one really sees him as top 5 in the entire league in transition. And right now through 2 games, he looks better than Matt Gilrea through 4. So, I mean, it's just those kind of just direct stats right in front of you that Gilrea just, who should be, like you said, one of the best in the league, coming out real flat.
Yeah, this is a team that's very underperforming what the expectations were there for them, and it's not due to in net. And you and I are both on the same wavelength here. Riley Hutchcraft's 1-2, 11.98 goals against average, but he's got a 70 as Maggie's leaving from my feet. 79 save percentage. It's not on Hutchcraft. He's playing way better than I think anybody predicted him to play to start the season. You were expecting a Rylan Hartley to lead the net, and it just hasn't happened yet due to injury. No fault of his own. You're going to get Riley Hutchcraft in here. They already confirmed it with Adam Levy. It's going to be Hutchcraft in net, but I think it's important to have the backup. It's Kevin Orleman, Steve Orleman's brother. He's got an 8.29 goals against, 85% saves percentage, but yes, it's 14 and a half minutes. So take those numbers very loosely, but it's not the goaltenders, responsibility for them being a 1-3 team right now. This is a team right now that's underperforming. This is a team that you do not want to give any juice from. This is a team that Buffalo wants to win the season series against, go up 2-0 on them, because if Rochester does get hot, it is possible. We saw Georgia do it a couple years ago when they started 0-7. We saw Vancouver do it and almost sneak into the playoffs last year. Teams can get hot. This is a team that's still littered with talent all over. They're just underperforming right now. This is a team that's down. You need to keep them down. You do not need to give them any hope. This game cannot be within 2 or 3 goals. Buffalo's got to be up by 2 or 3 goals at halftime. And especially, they cannot be having Rochester up, especially in Banner Night. And as we're going to get into predictions in a second here, but this is a team that they're down. They're feeling bad for themselves. They're going into Bandit Land in front of a sellout crowd as the banner's going up. This is not a time that you need to be letting off the gas whatsoever. You need to be doing this NOS and full throttle over this team. You cannot give them any hope. Just tarnish any possible hope they still have left and push them to 1-4. So they're in the far rear view mirror, and you do not have to worry about them until maybe March at the very earliest.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, I think we talk about it way too often. I feel like it's probably one of our biggest cliches on this show. But getting out to a big lead and an early lead,
it's not just ours. The head coaches do it all the time too. So you can't just put that on us.
I feel like we say it a lot, but it's true. Especially in a game like this, like you said. I mean, the big thing is having this team stay down. And you saw what they did at the end of the game last week against Saskatchewan. They started to come back toward the end of the game. And if they use that momentum to roll into this game, like, all right, look, we started that game a little bit slow, but now we have momentum. We played a good team. We just lost, just came up short. Maybe they're feeling it a little bit more. Maybe they're coming into this game with a little bit more hope. You have to crush that immediately. Just show them why you're the number 1 team in the entire league, and just continue that trend and push them right back down and give them no hope of a victory in this game. Come out quick, come out hot, and just get up early and stay up the rest of the time.
So, Phil, it is time to make our predictions. I just want to remind you the only predictions that have ever been correctly performed on this show both came against Rochester. One of them was a home game. Thank you, Max Adler. The other one was a road game last year, 15-13 victory. I just like to remind everybody I'm the only 2-0 perfect one on the show. Phil, what is your prediction for Buffalo versus Rochester banner raising night? Do you sniff an upset with Rochester, or do you see Buffalo winning a close one? Do you see blowing them out again on banner raising night? What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I have no reason to believe Buffalo won't blow them out, considering how they have started this season and considering how Rochester looks right now. So I am going 15-8, blow them out, crush them, move on. Enjoy your week off once again for the 10th time this season already.
Yeah, thanks KeyBank Center for making us get more creative very early on in the NL season. I also have it more of a spread out game. I got them winning 14-9. I do not see any reason to until it's provided for me. And I did this 2 years ago when Buffalo went on that big winning streak after I predicted them to beat Albany in game 1, and then I predicted them to go on a 5-game losing streak, and I said I would keep predicting them to lose until I was proven otherwise because they were just winning nonstop. I'm going to keep predicting big victories until proven otherwise because there's no reason not to. So I got them winning 14-9 in banner raising night. Excited once again to see the banner going up, especially with your rivals sitting there watching it happen.
Yeah, and it's nice that Buffalo's been able to do this 2 times now instead of going to play somewhere where they are raising the banner because that's pretty dejecting, and I don't like it. So I'm glad they get to raise it. And it's really cool that they're doing it again in front of 18,000 plus. 19,000 plus. I don't know why I always think 18. I think that's going to be a really, really, really great atmosphere, and we'll see. I feel like last year it was very similar where the banner raising was huge, and then we expected it to kind of die down the attendance a little bit because that's usually what happens. Game 1, everybody shows up, and then it dies down a little bit. But last year, the wave continued the entire season long. The attendance was insane, so hopefully that continues this year, especially with the Sabres doing what they're doing. It's nice to watch a team win. So can't wait. It's going to be fun. Little side note, because there's misinformation all over the place. The doors do open at 5 p.m. for this game, so you can get there as early as 5. I think the NLL website released something that said 5:30. It is 5, so feel free to get there extra early. Make sure you're got your banner and you're in your seat. And I think the ceremony is at 6:10, so make sure you are seated by then.
Yeah, I think the Bandits put it out too early, saying that the doors opened at 5:30, and then that caught wind, and then they had to update it. It was 5 o'clock. Very smart to open it up a half an hour even earlier because 19,000 fans, tough to get them all in their seats if you want them there by 6:10. But Phil, it's everybody's favorite time of the show. It's my favorite time of the show. It's the Milestone Minute, the fastest milestone minute in all of podcasting, in all of the world, in all of BSC land. So all these possible milestones can be found on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. We post them to the lead up of every game, so check with us on Friday and Saturday for all these, because if you miss them and you don't want to listen back for whatever reason, you can check for them there. There's not a ton, but buckle up anyways. Still got to get my seatbelt. On away we go. If Paul Dawson plays on Saturday, he will move into a tie with Mike Poulin for 8th place in NLL history in games played with 269. Steve Perillo is 1 cost turnover away from tying Brody Merrill for 3rd place in NLL history. He averages 1.18 a game. Come on, Steve. I want to finish saying this one. Josh Byrne, 3 assists away from 300 for his career. He averages 3.27 a game. Kyle Buchanan, still loose balls, chasing him for 1,000. He's 3 away. He averages 5.48 a game, but that number's been dwindling because he hasn't done it yet. This is the 3rd time. Come on, Kyle. Chris Cloutier is 2 loose balls away from 300 for his career. He averages 4.11 a game. Josh Byrne is 2 goals away from tying Micah Curson for 4th place in Buffalo Bandits history. He averages 2.25 a game. Chase Frazier is 1 goal away from tying Darius Kilgore for 7th place in Buffalo Bandits history. He averages 1.72 a game. And last one, Chris Cloutier is 2 points away from tying Troy Cordingley for 9th place in Buffalo Bandits history. He averages 3.5 points a game in his Buffalo Bandits career.
You did well. You did well
Thank
that
you.
time.
Thank you.
Yeah, Priolo, 2 games in, 0 cause turnovers.
Just 1. He's got 1.
Oh. I'm reading
It
0.
used to be 2. He's at 1 now.
Okay. We'll give him 1. Still not anywhere near where he needs to be. He should be better. But you got Chris Cloutier a couple times on there. I'm hoping for Buchanan because he is a loose ball machine. So I think it's going to be a fun one. I mean, 1,000's a lot in any career, but I feel like for somebody who is that water bug, flying around the field, always getting those late loose balls, the hustle plays. I think it's a really cool one for him. I feel like most people, unless you're a transition player or face-off guy, like 1,000 loose balls doesn't mean as much. But I feel like for a player like that, I feel like that is a big milestone probably personally for him because he is just that style player. So hopefully he gets in this one because that is a really, really big and awesome number for Kyle Buchanan.
Yeah, especially for a former 6th-round draft pick being in the league, putting up the numbers he is.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Monster. Thank you for coming back, Kyle. But just finish this off so I can stop saying. You got 3 on the year. This is your 3rd game. Getting a little lazy out there, man. Maybe the old age is catching up to you.
Oof.
Oh, yeah, that was a shot.
Maybe
it'll fuel him. Maybe it'll fuel him. NLL Outlook now as we wrapped up the show. Got 6 games on the slate, including Buffalo versus Rochester, and 5 of the 6 are on Saturday. So I'm going to have a fun Sunday morning pre-Bills game. 1-2 Albany heads to the 0-3 Halifax Thunderbirds Saturday, 6 p.m. They will be without Tyson Bell because he likes punching fans. We don't really have to go into much more. I'm not condoning what the fans did, but I'm also not condoning what Tyson Bell did. 1-1 Ottawa travels to the 0-3 Toronto Rock Saturday, 7 p.m. You got the 2-1 Philly Wings heading to the 3-0 Saskatchewan Rush Saturday, 8 p.m. And then an hour later, 1-1 Vancouver heads to 2-0 Calgary for the return of Kurt Malowski. First game back in Calgary since he left them in the dust. Left their remains buried under Roughneck Nation. And then the 3-1 Georgia Swarm head to the 3-1 Colorado Mammoth Sunday at 4 p.m. A little NLL action post-Bills victory versus the Jets. Phil, what are your thoughts on the 6-game slate that I need to try to work my way back from in our NLL picks that come out every Wednesday?
There is a lot going on this weekend. A lot of these games are really interesting. A lot of them could be very close, and a lot of them are, what is your team really? I mean, Albany and Halifax, I know they've lost a lot of really close games. Halifax isn't great, so if Halifax somehow upsets Albany, it starts to question them a little bit. Ottawa and Toronto, can Toronto finally win one? They looked a little bit better last week. And now they're at home. They are desperate for a victory, but if they start 0-4, that is brutal. Philly, what is their offense really against a very good Saskatchewan Rush team as a whole and going out west to go play them? So that one is going to be kind of what is Philly. Vancouver and Calgary, what are either of them? I mean, Calgary has shocked the world with their 2-0 start, and their offense with Doby and Dixon really coming back. We knew their offense would be good, but their defense still isn't great. So what are they? Vancouver has been a pretty okay team. Same thing, though. I mean, that one, I don't know if it's really going to tell us a lot between the two teams, but still a really big, like you said, Kurt Malowski going back to Calgary. That's just a big game in general. And then Georgia and Colorado, that's another big one of what are the teams. Georgia just knocked out San Diego in a close game, so they currently are one of the best teams in the entire league. Colorado also looking like one of the best teams, and that's a really fun one because you have Colorado as one of the best offenses against Georgia as one of the best defenses. So that's a really big one of offense versus defense straight up, which one is better and which team's better. So a lot of really interesting games this weekend and should be a really fun one for the NLL.
Yeah, I agree. It's all these ones have big time talking points. You know, can Halifax and Toronto get out of the 0-4 possible start? Can Albany and Ottawa rebound from, early losses and get back to either 500 or above 500? Philly, what are you? Are you that offense that you did against the Vegases of the world? Or can, you really beat a good goaltender who's playing lights out right now in Frank Chiliano? Can Saskatchewan win another close game and move to 4-0? You got Georgia who's 3-0 versus a 3-1 Colorado. That could be a playoff matchup right there. That could be a first round playoff matchup with Colorado's offense. Their defense is nothing to look past. And then Georgia, the depth scoring is definitely got to pick it up. They're 3-0. But besides Lyle Q, I mean, there's not a ton of offensive firepower that's going on in the Swarm Nation right now. But to me, it's Vancouver versus Calgary. And yes, Calgary has an electric offense, which we all said on the show that their offense was going to be better than it was last year, but their defense and goaltending is going to take a major hit. That's what it is 2 games through. But in my write-ups, which this is, I guess, is a nice plug for our Power Rankings article that comes out every Thursday, I said this is a must-win game for Vancouver. If they want to be a playoff contender, this is a game that you need to win against a struggling. Vancouver's offense has struggled all year long. I think I said they scored 19 goals so far this season, and only 9 or 12 of them, something like that, I don't have the exact number in front of me, came from the forwards. Their forwards are not scoring goals. This is the time to do it versus a Cam McLeod who has struggled, versus a Calgary defense who struggled. If you're not able to beat a Calgary team with plenty of goals, I want to see 13, 14, 15 goals Vancouver's pumping in to really prove that, hey, this is a real playoff contending team. Because if they lose to Calgary and they don't put up 11, 12, 13 goals, even in defeat, I'm going to be very much questioning if this Vancouver team is all that's made out to be after their hot start or hot finish to their season last year. So To me, yes. It's December 28th. If Vancouver wants to be a playoff team, it's a must-win game in Week 5 of the NLL season. I said it. To call it a hot take, I don't care. That's what I'm saying. If Vancouver wants to be a playoff team, they have to beat Calgary on Saturday.
Yeah, Keegan Ball leads their team in points with 6. 6 through 2 games. I know we compare a lot to the Bandits because that's who we cover the most, but, I mean, Dane and Josh both have that in 1 game this year. Your offense shouldn't really be led in 2 games by 6 points. That's not going to cut it. And all of that is goal. Their top 2 scorers are 6 points and 5 points with 5 goals and 4 goals, and each have 1 assist. So not great. Not great. Like you said, Calgary's defense and goaltending is suspect to start the season. So Vancouver's offense, this is your time to shine and prove what you got. If you don't, you are in trouble.
So that will wrap up this episode. Phil, is there anything else you want to add to it before we shut it down and get ready to head back to Bandit Land for the first time in like 7 months to see a new banner go up into the rafters?
I feel like I did have something else about the Bandits opening night to discuss, and I forgot what it was. So we can move on. Excited to be there and see all the fans, be back. It's going to be fun. Oh, that's what it was. Goal songs. Yeah, they are a thing, despite some chatter that they weren't going to exist this year because the Sabres didn't do it. The Bandits and Sabres are different. They're different teams, and they do different things. Bandits goal songs are back and excited. Can't wait. Should be a fun party on Saturday.
Yeah, we didn't predict it, but we kind of mentioned in one of the comments because somebody said, "Oh, the Sabres aren't doing it. Why would the Bandits?" And we went, because the Bandits are the ones that started the tradition. Why would they get rid of it and expect it later in the week? And came out Thursday. So there you go. Love to Hook and Anna Coke. Always absolutely brings it with his goal song. He's taken over for the Jeff Skinner exit.
Yes.
So
yes.
Love it. But yeah, that will wrap up this episode of, what is it, 321, I think the episode is? Who cares? We'll be on 322 on Monday. Make sure you're in your seats because, like we mentioned it, you definitely want to be a part of that because, again, it could happen next year or it could be another 15 years until you see another banner raised. You're definitely not going to see one in the blue and gold, but it could be a while for the Bandits as well. You never know because the league gets better and better. We'll break down the Bandits versus Rochester on Monday. We'll break down Bills versus Jets on Monday. And one more Sabres game to add to our bingo board. And then stay tuned for our Sunday Bandits MVP. We vote on it here at the BSC, and we put out the nice graphic that producer Pat makes, and that comes out on Sunday. So if you got any guesses, send them to us at all of our social media accounts, which I'm about to name right now. So thank you all for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co., where the milestones will be as well. Visit our website, buffalosportscollective.com. Check out our store on our link tree on our socials, or at the shop tab at the top of the website. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us that review on Apple and Spotify. Until next time, see you in Bandit Land. Bye-bye!